This is Marc Márquez. Oh, now that's the difference. That's the difference, isn't it? How's your look?
Márquez is brave and hangs it in on the outside, and Márquez is back!
This was what potentially cost him pole at this stage. Oh, dearie me, it was more than a mistake. Look at the angle of this front tyre. That's a crash. That's pointing towards Tasmania.
At over 300 kilometres an hour, a mistake is supposed to have consequences. A slide becomes a crash becomes a disaster. That's how MotoGP works. Except sometimes the impossible happens, and a rider saves a motorcycle that should already be sliding across the asphalt. These are the MotoGP saves that defy human reflexes. The save that changed everything.
Wins for the fourth time here in Valencia. Johan Zarco, a fantastic second, but the world champion is crowned. Marc Márquez wins his 6th world title.
November 2017, the final race of the season at Valencia. Marc Márquez arrived, needing only to finish in the top 11 to clinch his 4th Premier Class title. On the opening lap, at turn 1, he braked 30 metres later than he normally would, carrying 153 kilometres an hour into the corner in 3rd gear. It was too much. The front tyre let go.
He'll try and break Zarco straight away, because Zarco would have loved to have another go at him. Oh, dearie me, Márquez! Unbelievable! Marc Márquez is taking unbelievable risks.
The front wheel slid for more than 50 metres. His lean angle reached 64 degrees, a number that, on paper, simply shouldn't allow a motorcycle to stay upright. For a fraction of a second, even the commentators thought it was over. Then his elbow found the tarmac. "I supported my weight with my elbow," Márquez said afterward. "I used my elbow and knee as a lever, and I think that with the help of the fans, I got the bike back up." He kept the throttle open. He stayed on the bike. He finished the race in 4th and sealed his 4th MotoGP World Championship, on a slide that, by every normal law of physics, should have put him in the gravel. Somehow, both the bike and the championship survived. Once a front tyre fully loses grip at racing lean angles, the crash is already in motion. The contact patch, the small area of rubber actually touching the road, can no longer generate the sideways force needed to hold the bike's line, and momentum simply continues straight on, dragging the front wheel out from underneath the rider. Human reaction time to an unexpected event is roughly 2 to 3/10 of a second. At 150 kilometers an hour, a motorcycle covers more than 10 meters in that time alone. At least, that's what is supposed to happen. The rider who broke physics.
Town circuit at turn 2. This is the one for Marc Márquez. He's already testing the limits of his front end. That's unbelievable.
Oh, this is just getting ridiculous now. That is insane. Look at the angle of the front tyre, ladies and gentlemen.
Valencia wasn't an isolated miracle. By the time it happened, the paddock had started to expect it from him. Márquez brought a technique into MotoGP in 2013 that nobody else was using at the time, dragging his elbow along the tarmac through corners, the same way motocross and dirt track riders use a trailing leg to balance a sliding machine. It gave him a 3rd point of contact with the ground, something to lean on, quite literally, the instant the front tyre started to go.
This was what potentially cost him pole at this stage. Oh, dearie me, it was more than a mistake. He was nearly into orbit.
The week before he won his 2nd MotoGP title in 2013, he crashed heavily in Friday practice at the Sachsenring, fracturing a finger and a toe. He still took pole position. He still won the race. Most riders react after the slide begins, correcting a mistake that's already happened. Márquez's elbow technique let him react almost as the slide was unfolding, catching the bike's weight transfer in real time rather than after the fact. The method became so widely copied that suit manufacturers began building dedicated elbow sliders into racing leathers as standard equipment. Eventually, the saves became so frequent that people stopped treating them like miracles. The saves that created legends.
Lining up the last corner of the circuit.
Stoner
runs it
he's
wide.
off.
And he's going to run it wide and onto
That's
the
it,
gravel.
he's
That
off.
could be the end of the race. He's gone down. Casey Stoner has gone down well.
Márquez didn't invent the impossible recovery. Every generation in MotoGP has produced riders defined by what they survived as much as what they won. In July 2008, Casey Stoner was leading the United States Grand Prix at Laguna Seca, locked in a fight for the win, when he crashed out of the corner known as the corkscrew.
Stoner has gone down well. Stoner in second position has gone down.
Still running.
He picked the bike up, remounted, and rejoined the race, finishing second behind Valentino Rossi. A crash that should have ended his afternoon instead cost him a handful of positions and nothing more. Talent helps riders reach the limit. Reflexes sometimes bring them back from it.
Whoa, big moment for Marc Márquez with a practice start. What a moment for Márquez.
This isn't ancient history either. At the 2024 Indonesian Grand Prix, Márquez lost the front end at turn 10 in practice and somehow brought the bike back up. A save so unexplainable that the official broadcast simply admitted nobody but him knew how he'd done it. A few weeks later in Thailand, Fabio Quartararo had his own moment, catching a slide in qualifying with reflexes quick enough that he not only stayed upright, he went on to better his lap time and advance straight through to the next session. The danger behind these moments hasn't gone away either. In the 2025 season alone, Johann Zarco crashed 28 times, more than any other rider in the field, and a reminder that even the riders best known for staying on the bike are still finding the limit of grip dozens of times a year. The forces involved are far beyond what a rider could physically resist with muscle alone. A bike at speed weighs over 150 kilograms and is already in motion when the slide begins. What actually matters is timing. Shifting body weight at the exact instant grip starts returning, neither too early, which can snap the bike back upright too violently, nor too late, by which point the lean angle has already passed the point of no return, and that timing window at 300 kilometers an hour lasts a fraction of a second. It cannot be practiced, it can only be reacted to. The weekend, he saved the title before he even raced for it. Some saves happen in a single corner. This one happened over an entire weekend. Friday practice at the Sachsenring, 2013. Márquez, then a 20-year-old rookie fighting for his first Premier Class title, crashed hard enough to fracture a finger on one hand and a toe on one foot.
But we've seen a fourth crash of the weekend then for Marc Márquez, and this is a big one. This is a big one.
Everybody watching expected the injury to cost him the rest of the weekend, at minimum. Including, by his own account afterward, Márquez himself, who described simply trying to get through each session rather than push for a result. He took pole position anyway. On Sunday, he led from lap 5 and was never headed again, winning his 8th race in a row at that circuit and taking the championship lead for the first time that season. Then, he pulled off a different kind of save. Not in a corner, in recovery. Why these moments terrify riders.
Into turn 10. That front tyre is nearly digging a trench in the tarmac through turn number 10. Look at the marshals, they were straight away just going.
Fans celebrate saves as spectacle. Riders experience them very differently, because every save is proof that something already went wrong. Grip was gone. Control was lost. For a fraction of a second, disaster was as close as it gets without actually happening. A save is not proof that everything went right. It's proof that something went wrong and that the rider got away with it. And sometimes the save is only the beginning of the danger. It's only delaying the crash to a worse moment later in the same corner when there's less room left to recover. The real secret behind the impossible. From the outside, these moments look like pure reflexes, talent, luck. The reality is closer to muscle memory built over decades. Most MotoGP riders grew up racing motocross and dirt track machines, where sliding the rear wheel and catching a front-end slip are not emergencies. They're simply part of how those bikes are ridden every single day. By the time a rider reaches MotoGP, the instinct to correct a slide has often been drilled in since childhood, long before it's ever needed at 300 kilometers an hour. These riders spent decades preparing for moments that last less than a second. The save lasts a moment. The preparation lasts a lifetime. The mistake they avoided could have lasted forever. What staying on the bike actually means.
Look at the angle of this front tyre. That's a crash. That's pointing towards Tasmania. Now this is Marc Márquez. Oh, now that's the difference. That's the difference, isn't it? How's your look?
Every MotoGP rider crashes. Every MotoGP rider makes mistakes. The difference is that some riders find a way back from the edge, back from the slide, back from a moment that should have ended very differently. Fans remember the victories. Riders remember the saves. Because sometimes the most impressive thing in racing isn't winning. It's staying on the motorcycle long enough to keep the story alive. What is the greatest save in MotoGP history? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing. There are many more incredible stories from MotoGP history still to come.